fill in my planner for February. We're going to take a second to talk about solo dates and why I think we all need to go on more of these in 2025. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my February 2025 monthly reset. This is my first reset slash plan with me of 2025. I didn't do one for January because I was doing so many New Year reset planning, goal setting videos in the month of January. So this is my first official one of the year and I'm so excited to be bringing these back monthly to you guys in 2025. If you're new to my channel and you haven't watched one of my monthly resets before, it's basically the perfect video to put on to either motivate you to do your own reset or put on in the background while you're doing your own. Basically, I walk through my previous month and reflect a little bit on the month and think about like, okay, how do I feel like I did with my goals? What did I achieve? What did I not achieve? What do I need to work on in the next month? How do I feel like I had work-life social balance? And there's usually like a middle section which changes month to month. Sometimes it's a clean or organized with me. Sometimes we're meal prepping. Sometimes I share like my fall or summer bucket list. And so that middle segment kind of changes. And then at the end, I always do my content corner, which is one of my favorite parts because I love movies, TV shows, and books. And so I share and rate everything that I watched or read in the previous month. So let's go ahead and get started. In case you're wondering what's going to pop up on the screen, it is pages from my daily planner. This is the planner that I designed and created myself. This is our coffee color, which we're running really low on. You guys are loving this color. Every month there is a goals and reflection page. Even though this is a daily planner, there's those pages every month. So I follow this planning system, which I also put up here on the screen. So if you have the daily planner, you can follow along for yourself. But even if you don't, you can do this on your own, like piece of paper, notebook. You can also use the Notion page that I shared for my Dream and Design 2025 series. I'm going to be referencing that as well because this is where I like to like plan out my goals for like the next quarter. And then I take them monthly into my planner. First, we're going to do a little reflection on January. So first off, core memories. We had our first snow, like big snow day of the year. In January, we usually have like 1 or 2 snow days or a few days of snow in Tennessee. And one was in January. It's so fun. It's just like so happy. Everyone in the Centennial Park that I walked to was like building snowman and having snowball fights, and it was just like the cutest thing ever. Snow in Tennessee is like a very magical thing, so we love when it snows for the most part. Also just the highs and lows of the TikTok ban, that is going to be a core memory for sure. Just like how crazy that was. I'm not going to go into detail. I'm sure we're all tired of talking about it, but it was insane, especially when your job is TikTok and social media. Like it was wild, but we're through that. Definitely a hilarious slash crazy moment in history. And then I'm filming this before my trip actually, so that I have it ready to go next week. But I am taking a trip to Charleston to celebrate 3 of my friends' 25th birthdays. They're like back to back to back. So we're doing a little trip to Charleston where one of them lives, where 2 of them live. And I'm really excited for that because I haven't been to Charleston since high school. And even then I was like, it was gray and cloudy and with my family. So I'm excited to see Charleston, even though it's in January and it's going to be cold. I think it's gonna be a really fun weekend. So I'm very excited for those core memories to come. This month's wins. I feel like I did a good job of like having a productive but also slowish start to the year. I wanted to like feel good and like make my home feel really good and get back into like eating healthy and working out more consistently, but I wasn't super hard on myself. It was like a perfect slow start to make lasting habits throughout the year, not just like a push for the first 15 days of the year and then I fell off. Sometimes I feel like starting slower January 1st instead of like guns blazing, new year, new me. Starting slower can sometimes result in longer lasting results, and I feel like I'm seeing that happen for myself. To improve next month, I need to take more steps in my day. I had a very work heavy month just because having a planner company, working for a wellness company, January is like a big season. So I feel like I have been working a ton, which I normally do, but I have not been prioritizing my daily walks. One, because it's so cold outside, but that's not an excuse. I have a treadmill in this apartment building. And so I am going to try to get 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day in February because there were some days I looked back this month and I had literally 3,000 steps for the day. That's like if I didn't take a walk or anything, just my little pitter pattering around, going into the office, going to my car, whatever, 3,000 steps, not good. So get more steps. Then in the planner, I have this little life balance scale where you can rate each area of your life out of 5. And so work, things were going really well. I feel like December was a really great month for my business and going into January. So I'm giving myself a 5 out of 5 in work. Personal, I'm giving myself a 4 out of 5. I did a lot of things this month to work like on myself. Like I said, getting in better habits, seeing friends, just prioritizing my own personal development. Wellness though, that was like on the lower scale. Like I said, I was not super active this month, even though I was trying to get back into it, but giving myself a 2 there. That's okay. Social, I'm giving myself a 5. I've had already a lot of time spent with friends, going out to dinner, even went on a few dates end of last year, beginning of this year. So kind of big deal. Just checking off those goals for the new year one by one. So anyway, I'm giving myself a 5 in social, which I feel like I'm proud of. Finances, pretty average month for me, so a 3. And then hobbies, again, pretty average. I feel like I had a good balance of like doing some things that I love, but also it wasn't anything crazy, so another 3. So that was my January reflection. Now going into my monthly goal setting. So first we're going to go over the goals that I set for myself in January. So my 3 big goals, the first one was to create a high yield savings account, which I did. I talked about that in my financial reset video. I knew I was going to check that off at the beginning of the year, and I'm really proud of myself for doing that. So check there. Number 2 is wake up consistently before 6 a.m. I've woken up consistently between 6 a.m. and 6:30. So I'm going to give myself like a half check here because it wasn't like I was sleeping in every day, but I do want to in February start waking up like 5:45 just so that I can like be out of bed making coffee by 6, not like getting out of bed at 6:20. Organize and deep clean my apartment. Check. I'm really happy with how my space feels. Like we set up a lot of new like organizational things in my apartment, gadgets. I deep cleaned like things like my bathroom or my closet, my bedroom. I kind of have a new little setup. You can't really see it. It's on this side, but yeah, just feeling good about my apartment and my space, which is great. My mini goal was to post consistently 2 to 3 times a week on all socials. That did not happen with the TikTok ban. I kind of was like not posting on my own personal TikTok as much. And then YouTube, I've tried to keep up, but editing and filming YouTube content, it takes significantly more time than like an Instagram or Reel or TikTok. So I've not been as consistent on there as I want, but it's okay. Goals that we don't achieve, we can move over to the next month. Speaking of, let's go to February. First, I just want to talk about like things I'm excited for in February. I don't have any trips planned this month, but I feel like it's going to be a fun social month just with all the Galentine's events. I already have like 2 Galentine's parties on my calendar, which is exciting. And I just love holidays. So like I love celebrating Valentine's, even though this will probably be my first Valentine's single in almost 5 years. I'm excited to just like still celebrate that and have a good time. I will be working on Valentine's Day and the day after on Saturday, like with some different work events and stuff. So I'll be busy for sure, but yeah, I'm excited to just have like a pretty chill month at home that's focused on work stuff, because in March, I'm going to have a very like travel heavy month. So I feel like February is going to be a good month to just like wrap things up here and then prepare myself for March. And I feel like just after March, the year is going to fly by. So thinking of that, I do have some big goals for February. 2 of these are not super fun. The first one is one that I briefly mentioned in my goals reset video. It is a goal this year of mine to get my real estate license. I'm rebringing up that goal that I had like from 2022. Decided in 2022 I wasn't going to keep pursuing it, but I'm bringing it back this year, and I have about a 90-hour course that I have to get done. And so I want to get 20 to 30 hours of that course done. I need to finish it before April. So yeah, I need to like get a significant chunk of that course done. And one of the reasons I want to wake up earlier. And so I want to get 20 to 30 hours of that real estate course checked off. And then the next non-super fun one is I need to start working on my taxes for the previous year, also due in April. And just if I can get those done by like early March, that would be great, because I just feel like March, like I said, I'm going to be very busy. I don't want to have to worry about taxes. So February is going to be my month of hunkering down with work and getting stuff done so that I can enjoy the next month. And then the third one is a nice personal goal, and it is just to stay connected in my small group. My church's like small groups, Bible studies are starting back up this week, and just make it a plan to get there weekly and to really stay connected there. A few mini goals I have: I'm going to get an intern with my part-time job, and so I'm going to have to train him or her, and that is going to be like a big work thing. Again, trying to get 8 to 10,000 steps a day, and then post 3 short form videos a week on my own Instagram and TikTok. This is something I've already planned out like this first week. I know what videos I need to film. I'm going to try to do most of like the filming and editing on Sundays actually, so that I have them ready to go for the week. And again, it's not something like I necessarily want to be working on a Sunday, but this is a task that like excites me. I'm excited to like figure out what reels and TikToks are going to perform better for my viewers. And so it's like feels a little bit less than work, but if I don't do it on Sunday, honestly, it's not going to happen. So we're making that for myself. We're figuring it out there. So then what I do is I break these goals into project goals and habit goals. If you want a better explanation of how I do this, you can check out my goals reset video, which again, posted at the beginning of the year. Basically, project goals are things that have an end due date that you work a little bit towards at a time. Habit goals you do every day or every week so they become a habit. From this list of goals, my project goals are the real estate course. Like I said, that due date is April, but we're going to start working on it this month. Taxes, another project goal. And then train intern is a mini goal that is a project. Habit goals, going weekly to my small group. It's every Wednesday night. So just making a habit to go to that and putting it in my schedule. 10,000 steps, daily habit, and then short form content, weekly Sunday habit. Like I said, making every Sunday the time to kind of map out my short form content for the week and make sure that I am getting that done too, because it is a goal of mine to grow on Instagram and TikTok. So if you don't follow me there, this is my shameless plug because I am going to be trying to spend a lot of effort and time there. Alrighty. So now I also need to fill in my planner for February, just like to write out, fill in the monthly page. And so I'm going to do that. And then we're going to go into this month's little middle segment. Into this monthly resets topic of solo dates, I wanted to do a few cleaning things around the apartment. I wanted to share a few cleaning things that I do every 3 to 6 months. It has been more like 6 months for my Breville descaling. Basically, we're just gonna wash my shower curtain liner, which I learned you could do like maybe 6 months ago when I first did it. And some of you guys commented on that video that you didn't know you could wash your shower liners either, so we figured that out together. So I'm gonna do that in a second, but first I'm going to descale my Breville espresso machine. I haven't done this in a long time, and I got it almost a year ago. So we have the little solution here, looking up how to do it, and yeah, just a reminder, descale your coffee machines if you don't do that often. So maybe you forgot to do it in like your home reset like I did for January. So this is like a good time to now catch up on those little like deep cleaning items that you maybe forgot about to do in January. In there, and it's pretty yellow. So I'm just gonna do a rinse cycle now, refill this up, rinse it out, clean this. This really needs to be cleaned, and then I'll have a fresh new espresso maker. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is take down my shower curtain liner. All you have to do to wash this is put it in your washer with a little bit of detergent and 1 or 2 towels, and that's gonna help it like not get clumped up. And I promise you guys, like your pink gross shower liners are going to look squeaky clean, and it's a great way to reuse them instead of like throwing it out every few months and buying a new one. So reduce, reuse, recycle. So I'm gonna take this down. All right, you can kind of see, especially at the bottom, it's turning a little pink, a little gross. Time to wash it. We're gonna take a second to talk about solo dates and why I think we all need to go on more of these, including myself, in 2025. Also, look how good this protein latte looks that I made. It's very delicious. So because this is a February reset, I was like, what is a good topic to like bring into February? Yes, I did some extra cleaning around my apartment that I didn't get to do in January, but I was like, Valentine's Day is obviously a very big holiday and theme, especially at the beginning of February. And to be honest, guys, this is gonna be my first single Valentine's Day in quite some time, and I'm completely okay with that. I've been single for many Valentine's Days in my life, obviously, when I was growing up and I was little, and I don't think you have to have a significant other to enjoy Valentine's Day. I love holidays. Even on the years I was single, my mom or dad would get me a little something, make it feel special, and then as I got older, I would do things for myself on those days and hang out with friends as well. I'm going to so many Galentine's events, so excited for. But I thought, what a better way to talk about being single on Valentine's Day as talking about solo date ideas and what you can do on your own to just kind of build up your self-confidence, your independence, get out of your comfort zone. I think doing that is really important, especially if you are single right now. But even more so, actually, if you aren't single, because if you have a significant other, you're probably used to doing everything with them. And sometimes it's good to get out of your comfort zone and to go do an activity or do something by yourself every now and then too. So if you've been wanting to go on a solo date in 2025 or for in February, I'm going to share some of my favorites and some ideas that I haven't done yet and ones I want to do. This also got me thinking because in March, I'm doing a whole solo few days in California before a work trip, and I'm gonna go to Disneyland completely by myself, which I've never done before. So I'm like excited for that. I think it's gonna be a really fun time, but I also know it could feel a little bit weird to be in such like a place that's so crowded but not know anyone and be by myself. So I feel like some of these ideas I'm gonna do in February to help prep me for that big solo trip. Big for me because I've never done a solo vacation before. So obviously, talking about Disneyland, the first idea is you could go to a theme park by yourself, but we're gonna start smaller. Okay, maybe you're not like, Hannah, I can't go sit at a restaurant by myself. I can't go sit at a bar myself. I can't go to an amusement park by myself. Let's start small with some little things that you can work your way up to those bigger items. If you're someone who's literally hates being by yourself, you're never by yourself, you maybe haven't even gone to the mall. Or maybe the only time you've been to the mall by yourself is like when you have a mission to like just run into a store and grab something or to just get a return. Meanwhile, I think going on like a mall date where you go get your coffee, get your Starbucks, you walk around, you have a lot of time, you're not just trying to like run an errand. I think that is a great way to start being in crowds of people by yourself and get used to that. So if you haven't had a little mall date by yourself, I highly recommend it. I did this all the time in college. Like this mall in Nashville, it's a really nice mall. So obviously go to one where it's safe and there's a lot of people, but this mall's very nice, populated, and I would go by myself all the time and just walk around and enjoy a Saturday afternoon. The next one is very popular, but I've never done it and I want to do it this year, and that is to go to a movie theater by myself. I love the movies actually. Going to a movie theater is like one of my favorite things to do on a date or with friends, but I've never gone by myself, and I've heard it's very therapeutic, and honestly, it's probably one of the best places to go by yourself because no one there is looking at you. So if you're worried about like being self-conscious, like, oh, I'm here by myself, everyone's there to see the movie. Like literally you just walk in and grab your popcorn, grab your drink, grab your candy, bring some before, bring your favorite snacks, sit down, watch the movie, leave. Like it is probably the easiest solo date idea. I can't believe I haven't done it yet. I just need a good movie to come out that none of my friends want to go see, and then I will go. Maybe Snow White. I feel like that's a random movie that I'll probably go see, but yeah. Okay, I love this next one. Going to a little day spa, or if you can't do a whole day spa, going to a sauna studio. I'm actually doing this tonight. I booked a little sauna studio session on ClassPass, and there's lots of cool wellness like spas, day spas in Nashville that are really fun. I love going and doing cold plunges, doing salt therapy, doing red light therapy. If you have the finances to get a facial or a massage, that's even better. If you have ClassPass, look on ClassPass for some of those like beauty and wellness activities and book one for yourself and just go and spend the hour sitting in the sauna. I am going to listen to music, read my book. It's gonna be such a great way to like wind down at the end of my workday. I'm really excited for. The next one I've also done, and it is to go to a library. I did this a lot right out of college when I honestly felt very lonely. I just like needed somewhere to go during the day and like be around people. And so going to like a local library that you, again, you know is safe, you know has people around, is a great way to spend a Saturday or a Sunday. It is relaxing, it's quiet, so people like aren't gonna be all with their friends chatting it up. Like everyone there is kind of on their own for the most part, and so it's a great place to have a little solo date, get a library card, go check out some books, maybe stay and read for a little bit. The next step, I guess, kind of moving forward, if you're comfortable going on a library date by yourself, is just going to a coffee shop and reading. My friend Lucy does this a lot. I've never done this yet, but she'll just take her Kindle and her earbuds and go sit in a coffee shop and read for a while. I think that's such a fun way. I feel like every time I'm at a coffee shop, I'm either talking with a friend or I'm working. I've never gone to a coffee shop to like relax, and so I think that's something I want to try in 2025. This is like similar vibes as the library, but going to a museum. I did this in New York. I had a solo day in New York 2 years ago, I want to say now, when I was visiting my friend, but she had to work in office during the day, and so I kind of had just a day to myself in the city, and I went shopping. I went and sat and journaled in Central Park. I went to the MoMA Museum. It was a little uncomfortable just because I was in New York City, so like that by itself I feel like can be intimidating, but then also being by myself all day was a lot. But going to the MoMA and like walking around the MoMA and journaling in Central Park were probably my two favorite moments from that day. And again, with a museum, like it is meant to be quiet. You're kind of meant to like look and wander on your own, so it's not going to be weird if you're on your own. So great place to go. This was what I added in last minute. I haven't heard anyone talk about this, but going to a workshop like a candle making class or a painting class, just some kind of thing where there's an instructor and an activity, it's gonna make you feel way less alone. And you may also make friends with like the person sitting next to you, like a paint your own pottery type thing, but like try to go to some place that has an instructor so that you can like hear from the person, talk to them. Again, a great place to make more friends. So paint workshop, candle making. I'm trying to think of other ones. I feel like in Nashville, there's like a cocktail making workshop. Fun little stuff like that is a great way to go somewhere where you're not totally alone. Like you have something to do and there's people around you, but you may be just going by yourself. So those were a few solo date ideas to give you guys going into February. Let me know if you're gonna add going on a solo date to your list of goals for February, or if you have a favorite solo date idea, let me know what they are in the comments. I think it's a really good thing to do, especially like in your 20s before life gets too crazy. If you have a few hours a week, or a few hours a day to spend on your own and doing something that interests you, I think it's the perfect way to like become friends with yourself and again, feel comfortable in your own skin by getting out of your comfort zone in public. So yeah, that is it for this little segment. Now let's continue on with the video. All right, it is time for my favorite time of the month, my content corner, where I get to recap everything I watched and read in the previous month. And because I didn't do a favorite book wrap up from 2024, I'm also going to share my top books of 2024 with you guys. So if you are a reader and you love romantasy, like romance, fantasy, those vibes, you're going to want to hear my list, my reading wrapped favorites. Okay, so let's start though with shows that I watched in January. I didn't really watch any new movies, just some rewatches. But new shows I watched, I finally got to Love is Blind. I think it's season 7, the most recent one. There's a new season coming in February, but the most recent season, me and my roommate just put this on because we needed something to watch one night. I didn't hear anyone talk about it online, but honestly, it was a good season. I think I liked it more than I have other Love is Blind seasons. I'm rating it a 7 out of 10. I really liked it. I feel like it had enough crazy in it where it was entertaining, but there was also some good couples that came out of it. And so yeah, we loved it. We watched it probably within the span of like 2 weeks on and off, and we're very happy with it. Next was Sex Lives of College Girls. This is I think an HBO Max show, which I've had a few people recommend to me. Some friends said I would like it. I just never really heard anything about it. I think it came out like 2021, but I just really didn't hear anyone talk about it then. But since then I've heard recs, and I was just needing something to watch one night, so I put it on, and it was way funnier than I thought. It is a really good comedy. It's funny watching a show about like freshmen in college when I am so far removed from that season of life, but I'm gonna rate it an 8 out of 10. I really liked it. I'm on season 2 right now. The next show I started watching, I haven't finished it yet though, I've only watched one episode, is the Molly May documentary. I didn't even follow Molly May on Instagram like before this documentary. I know who she is. I know she's super cool. I love her style. But I did follow her after watching the first episode because, again, I'm obsessed with her clothes mainly. But I'm excited to continue watching this documentary. I'm not going to rate it because I haven't seen more than one episode. But if you're looking for like a good, it's like giving Kardashians vibe in the sense of like being inspirational. Like she talks not only about like her relationship and breakup, which I think is a big part of this documentary and why people are watching it, but I love watching it more to see like her lifestyle, her home, her fashion, how she's building her fashion brand. Like that's kind of why I'm watching it. And the first episode at least was really cool to see that. Okay, so I only finished 2 books in the month of January. Honestly, that's okay. My goal for the year, again, is 50 books. I read like 41 or 42 last year, so I was just under my goal of 50, but that's okay. It's a challenging goal for sure. So I'm gonna make it my goal again for 2025 to read 50 books, and now I know I need to pick up the pace a little bit. But the 2 books that I completely finished in January was one, a romance book called A Photo Finish by Elsie Silver. Elsie Silver quickly became my favorite romance author in 2024. I'll share with you my favorite series from her in a second. Her Chestnut Springs series is one of my favorite romance series, but this one is Gold Rush Ranch series, and these books have not been hitting. Like the first one I barely finished. This one my friend told me was gonna be better, and it was fine. I'm giving it 3 stars, but it just like doesn't hit the same as her Chestnut Springs series, which again, I'll talk about in a second. And then the second book I read was another recommendation from that same friend. It is called Heartless Hunter, or if you're, I think in the UK or Canada, it's called A Crimson Moth. It has 2 names. This is a YA fantasy romance based around a witch and a witch hunter. I normally don't love books that have witches in them, but this one wasn't too crazy. It was still interesting. She's kind of like a Robin Hood, but also opposite because she's like very wealthy. The premise for this book is she has magical powers. She is a witch, but in this town, witches are hunted and killed, and she had to like turn her grandmother in because her grandmother was a witch, but she's like an aristocrat at the same time. So in order to not be taken and like found as a witch, she plays this very like flighty, aristocratic girl. It very much gives like Bridgerton vibes, like the setting of these balls and what she wears. It's very Bridgerton, but on the side, she's like this undercover Robin Hood witch helping save other witches who are like being taken away and slaughtered. So very cool premise for the book. It's also like a brother trope. So there's like kind of a little bit of a love triangle between 2 brothers. One of them is her friend. One of them is like the notorious witch hunter. And yeah, it's a really good book, low on spice. I don't read a ton of young adult fantasies, but honestly, maybe I should read more because I really enjoyed this one. I'm rating it 4 stars, maybe like even like a 4.25, but for this, we'll say 4 stars. And the second book, it's a duology. The second book comes out in a few months. So perfect time to read it. I loved it. I'm thinking I maybe need to read more young adult fantasies. It wasn't something I was super interested in, but my like top favorite series from 2024 was the Powerless series. So let's transition into now my favorites of 2024. So I read Powerless in March of 2024. Powerful came out in April, which is like the novella. It's kind of like just a little side story. That was cute. I don't think it was needed yet. Maybe it'll be needed in this next book, but it really didn't have anything to do with the second book, which is Reckless. Oh, which I have. Let me grab it for the sake of the video. This is Reckless. This one wasn't as good as Powerless, but I still really enjoyed it. And then the third book comes out this year, like I think in April. So I'm very excited for the third book. Oh, it's gonna be so good. This is also a two brother trope. The first book, Powerful, how I pitch it to people, I'm like, it's a mix between Aladdin and The Hunger Games. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. You can read more about it. There's tons of reviews online because it was a very popular young adult book. Such a good young adult romantasy. This was, yeah, my favorite series that I read in 2024. A book that's not a romantasy book that was one of my tops of 2024, I actually read last January. It's one of the only thrillers I read, but it is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Very popular thriller. I feel like it was the perfect amount of like eerie weirdness before like I could read it, but I still had to skip some parts that were a little bit gory, but it was just enough like to where if it was any more creepy I would not have been able to read it, but it had me hooked. It's such a great story. They're turning it into a movie right now. They're literally filming it right now, so it's a great time to read this book if you haven't yet. Like I was saying, Elsie Silver quickly became my favorite romance author in 2024 because of this series. It starts with this book. This is Flawless. And then there's, I think, 5 in this series. It is a cowboy ranch series. It's about a family of ranchers, okay? All these brothers. And this is the first book, but my favorites in the series are the second book, which is, I think, Heartless, and then the last book in the series, Beau's book. So yeah, it follows some brothers and also some friends. There's like a hockey and ballerina book in this series, sisters in this series. Like there's just a lot of overlap between all the books, which is really fun. And they're pretty big. I have my roommate reading this right now, so there's her bookmark. They're at like 400-ish pages, but the way I read this book, I think in a few days, the second book I read in a few days, I have never read a romance series as fast as I did with these books. I think I read all 6 books, 6 or 7 books, however many there are, in the span of like a month and a half, which is very fast for me. So they're just so easy for me to read. Loved them. Elsie Silver, been reading all of her other books since then, but none have lived up to this series, sadly, but they are good. Okay, the next series I started and loved, another favorite book from the year, is a romantasy called From Blood and Ash. This was one, I don't know why I started it. Actually, I do know why I started it. We were going to a trivia book club on this book, and I wanted to go with my book friends, and so they're like, okay, you gotta read the book before we do trivia. So I read this within the span of like a month so I could go to trivia. It had me hooked. It is about like this girl who's the maiden. She has to be protected at all costs to like help the elites connect with God. But she's kind of like kidnapped in the process of being like transported across the country. And she learns that not everything that she's been told growing up as the maiden is true. She's been very, very sheltered, like literally not allowed to leave her room without an escort, like very, very protected. And she's learning everything may not be as it seems in this world. Very heavy on the fantasy. It is an adult romantasy, so there is spice, but it was a very good book. Again, one that like hooks you right at the beginning. And I read the second book as well, and I'm ready to start the third in the series very soon. It's a long series, so it's gonna take me a while. And then lastly, I have to give a shout out because my brother's gonna be happy. One of the top books I read from last year is A Game of Thrones. My brother got me to read this. What was really helpful reading this book was that he would like talk through the book with me. So these books are hard to read. Like right now I'm on the second book. I've been reading this second book for about a month and I'm only here like a fourth of the way in. This is A Clash of Kings. Of course, George R.R. Martin, fantastic author, very well written books, but they are so dense. It is like a dense series, very different than like a lot of like the easy fun reads that I am used to. So I'm proud of myself for reading them. Of course, I think it'll be worth it because it is such a great story. Character development, top tier. We all know this. If you've seen the show, you probably know. I have not seen the show, so that's fun because I don't know what's going to happen in this series, and pretty much the first book is like season 1 of the series, so I only know up to like season 1 and a few episodes into season 2 of what's happening, but I'm very excited to continue this. It's just something that I have to like take my time with because it's such a dense book and gives so much detail. But if you love the series, I recommend the books because like I said, they give a lot of detail. All right, so that was it for my February reset. I'm really excited actually for some books coming out in February. One being I'm going to start reading Onyx Storm, which is the 3rd Fourth Wing book, which just came out actually today when I'm filming this, but I will be reading it in February. And so yeah, I'm excited for that, excited for Galentine's. I think February is gonna be a really good month, and I hope this video was fun to watch and to get you inspired and motivated for the start of a new month as well. I love you guys so much. Let me know what content you want to see from me on here and my other socials, and I will talk to you all very soon.